I don't even know what to say, Brant, after watching that, what I guess we can call a game against Texas. Um, uh, the offense looked horrible. The defense looked average, which is terrifying, and special teams as well. Just outside of having Dominic Zavada as a kicker, I'm not sure what to be excited about here about this Michigan team. Um, I want to know your thoughts right now. What are your biggest areas of concern? Where does Michigan go from here? Starting right now this weekend against Arkansas State.
Dave, we talked about it last week. What is this team's identity? What are we on offense? Are we just are we going to be a ground and pound team? Are we going to eventually open up this offense through the pass game? Are we going to have a lot more motion? Are we going to be the flea flicker team? Like we saw that obviously work, but Dave, trick plays are not going to matriculate you down the field. So this team has got to figure out an offensive identity, and frankly, it's on the coaching staff that this team looks so underprepared coming into this home game against Texas, and I feel like the defense fed off the offense's energy, and they kind of just knew that they didn't have a real shot midway through the second quarter to even win this game. And that's such a far cry from what we've seen as Michigan fans. And it's a real reality check for all Michigan fans to know Arkansas State could be a struggle. Minnesota could be a struggle. I mean, you go up and down the list of teams, Dave. I don't think we're in the auto win mode. Just take out the green highlighter, start checking boxes of this is going to be a win. This team has real offensive questions, and when people make jokes about, hey, this is the new Iowa, Michigan, it sure as heck looks like it.
We are lucky that this game did not end up 56-3. You're kidding yourself if you look at that 31-12 scoreboard and think that Michigan was anywhere near sniffing this game. That was domination from beginning to end. You can't let Texas convert 8 of 10 third downs in the first half. The defense could not get off the field. Every time we thought that they had a stop, they couldn't get off the field. And the offense did absolutely no favors, whether it was turnovers, whether it was just the inability to get a first down and to go 3 and out. It's a disaster. And people will say Texas is a really good team, and I completely agree with that. They're a top 3 team in this country with Ohio State and Georgia, hands down. Quinn Ewers, potentially the best quarterback in the country, okay? But Michigan didn't show up. They were underprepared. This coaching staff did not have them ready, and I'm not putting this on the shoulders of Davis Warren. Brant, I like Davis Warren. I think he is who he is. He's a backup quarterback. He's a potential MAC starting quarterback. I need to know from this coaching staff who looked at this roster in the spring and said, yep, we're good. Because that's what I heard. And I don't see it. I see the need for a major change. And I don't know, maybe Davis Warren is the best we have. But when we're getting dominated 21-3 and we come out in the second half and we just run it back, do the exact same thing, we can't change quarterbacks and, I don't know, let Alex Orji just run the football or fake a pass. Like, can we do something different? I am concerned. And I'm angry, to be honest with you. You've got, and maybe this is an overreaction, but Brent, where in the world is Jadyn Davis? Why do we not hear his name? You bring in he was a 5-star quarterback at one point, ended as a 4-star. You've heard good things about him. He enrolled early. There's rumors that his parents didn't want him to play because of his size and wanted him to get bigger and experience and all of that. You're on this team. You may have to look elsewhere. You might need to. There are other D1 college football teams that march out true freshmen in times of emergency. This offense has no life. They have no identity. They talk about smash football, and they don't execute that way. It's ugly. The wide receivers are not making Davis Warren's life any easier. When you've got Colston Loveland making uncharacteristic mistakes like that, like this is a team right now that lacks leadership. They lack leadership from the top down. Brant, who in that locker room at any point in that game pulled and rallied the troops together? Because I watched a team that was defeated. I watched a team that the defense couldn't get off the field and the offense looked like a middle school offense. It's unacceptable. I don't care if this is Sharon's first year. Jim left at an inopportune time. It affected recruiting. Maybe it affected the transfer portal and what people were thinking about doing. I don't care. Why is it that every other program that wins a national championship or just won a conference championship for the third year in a row can capitalize, can go out and get guys that want to come to that program? What happened this year?
It's a failure on the coaching staff to look at this roster and say, yeah, this is good enough, because clearly it's not. And if you want to be in the top 5, where Michigan aspires to be, where they certainly belong, Dave, when you talk to you and I, that's not good enough. And we're going to really, really struggle against teams that are going to put up points. Even with our good enough defense, Dave, we're going to struggle to score 24, 27 points. And that's due specifically to quarterback play and wide receivers. I'm not going to let them off the hook either. We haven't recruited well enough there. We talked about it before the season, Dave. That position has just been a struggle. And with the new offensive line, 5 new starters, you could use some game breakers on the outside, and we just don't have those right now. And if I'm the rest of the Big Ten, they're licking their chops, because Michigan, let's just say between the last year or two, the target is massive on the backs, and everybody's going to be coming after them, jumping at the bit.
It is they are 2 games into this short season right now. There is a lot of football left to be played. They have got to figure something out. Okay, they do. They've got to figure something out on both ends of the ball. I think Wink Martindale is still adjusting. I think the college game is very different than the NFL game. Do I think that he'll be able to make the adjustments? Like, I think so. I hope so. As we've been told, he's the godfather of this defense. I'm not impressed. And look, Texas and Steve Sarkisian, what they do with Quinn Ewers and getting the ball out quick and the RPOs, we knew that going into it. It is an incredibly hard offense to scheme against. But I don't know if we could have done much of a worse job, if I'm being honest. The second half did look better. But at that point, the game's out of reach. And to be honest, Brant, as soon as they were down more than a touchdown, I said the game's over. There was just no way. Once that game was 14-3, it was like, okay, we'll pack it up. Let's get out of here healthy, because you don't have an offense that is capable of putting points on the board besides your kicker, Dominic Zavada. And that's a huge, huge problem. Brant, this game against Arkansas State this weekend is huge. They need to go out and drop 42 points plus. They do. And I don't know who's going to do it. I don't know who's going to step up. I don't know where in the world Donovan Edwards fits into this. I don't know. But they've got to figure something out. And this game this weekend is critically important. This isn't just a game that you're like, well, it's Arkansas State. Of course they're going to win. Yeah, they better win, first of all. But second of all, they better dominate. This defense better dominate from start to finish. And this offense needs to have a pulse out there and march down the field. First drive of the game, go get 6 and get some juice, because it is stale. The play calling is stale. It is not Michigan football. I don't know if Sharon Moore needs more of a say in the play calling. I'm not trying to point all the fingers at Kurt Campbell, but I mean, it's failure from the top down, Brant, and they have got to get this right. Any final thoughts that you have heading into this weekend?
Yeah, Dave, I think you nailed it with the Arkansas State take. It is critically important that we get something moving in the right direction. I don't care if it's the option offense, something to move the ball down the field. Something needs to be figured out, and needs to be figured out quickly. The last thing I'll say is, if Jack Tuttle is somewhere out there and he is your best option, you need to start giving other looks somewhere, because Davis Warren missing open receivers, turning the ball over, it's unacceptable. And it's got to be better. And if Jack Tuttle's going to be the guy that is going to take care of the ball and be just a game manager, then I'll gladly take it at this point.